Hello, everyone. Welcome to Women Talk Construction. I'm Angela Gardner, here with my co host, Christi Powell. And this is another special episode for Trimble, one of our major sponsors. And we are talking an IT topic today, right? Technology. And we're here with a very special guest who has been on our show before, and we absolutely love her. And I know that many people on social media follow her and her words of wisdom because she is sharing so many topics in the construction realm and even outside of it.
Mm-hmm.
She is just a bright light for many. But here today, we're sharing real stories and amplifying bold voices and spotlighting incredible people doing incredible work in our industry. And we are so grateful to Trimble for lifting us up and sponsoring our episode. So thank you. And welcome, Kabri, for being on our show again. So
Yes.
share with
Woo-hoo.
everybody a little bit about yourself because they might not know you, and if they don't, they need to. So share about you.
Oh gosh, I'm so excited to be here with you both again today. I love our conversations. I love what you're doing for the industry. And just to have the opportunity to get to share about one of my favorite topics, technology. Thank you for having me here. My history is out in the field. I am a superintendent with Hetzel Phelps. I've been working in the industry for over 18 years from coast to coast on large projects sized 80 million to $2 billion. My current project is about slated to be a $2.3 billion aviation program. And most of the work that I've done have been on higher education, so college level campuses and airports where there's a lot of work with the surrounding public, making sure everybody stays safe. But really, what I've been lucky to get to do is work on projects where developing innovation and technology and really pushing that out into the field has been a priority for our ownership groups. And I've worked with really fabulous design teams that have really pushed the envelope on creating
Nice.
opportunities for our job site teams to be able to take advantage of their information and make it so that it helps us build better.
Oh yeah, and
That's awesome.
that's exactly what technology is doing. It's innovating
Mm-hmm.
and helping us build better. Now, in the construction realm of technology, because technology is a big, vast, but then there's construction technology.
Mm-hmm.
How do we attract more women? And you can even get specific as to even some of the actual jobs that should attract more women into the construction IT world.
Yeah. I think that one of the fabulous things about having all sorts of new technologies available being created every day is that it gives a new point of access into what our industry does, right? Not only are we creating new types of jobs, but we're giving people new types of opportunities to have the same language,
Mhm.
Oh,
right?
nice.
When you talk about the opportunities in technology, what you're talking about is opportunities in access, opportunities in a shared language and communication systems. You're kind of leveling the playing field. You're giving people better access to training across the board. And so by saying that there's an opportunity for different technology inputs into careers, what you're doing is you're saying that one, first, hey, have you ever seen the construction industry in this light,
Yeah.
right? Which
Mhm.
most people, unless you have family members in the industry, are truly unaware of
Mm-hmm.
what we do.
Hmm.
But you're also saying, hey, all the stereotypes you've heard about being in the industry, this field office divide, like,
Mm-mm.
come on in. Here's another way in so that
Mm-hmm.
you can be a part of it. Because once you're part of this industry, as you know, like, you get to learn so much.
Yes.
And the route through technology is no exception.
Mhm.
Um, it's a great facilitator.
Yeah. So, and you hit on this a little bit about opening doors, like in that conversation there. How does Construction Inclusion Week's opening doors theme? How does that inspire you as a female voice in the construction industry to drive unity?
So, Construction Inclusion Week, I am such a fan. over the last 5 years of it coming to be, it's been such a blessing and an opportunity to be able to take this week in October every year to the job site and be able to kind of frame a whole program around it. And it, it's had its challenges over years. Like, are we talking about just inclusion? Sometimes people get to fold in the incredible topic of mental health, but like, what is it that we're asking people to do? And what we get to ask people to do is just look at each other and come together around the things they love to do, like build in a new way. And so technology is hand in hand with that. And so opening these doors for opportunities is the new roles that you talked about. It's, in my mind, bridging what is also a gender divide in that field office divide by giving more opportunities for not just access through roles, but it's that communication that it improves when you have good technology on a job site and you can better communicate between the field and office. That's what gets a building built fabulously. You have this common language. I have some great stories I'm sure we'll get to about like the enhanced visual communication that means so much out in the field. And then that information access, the leveling of the playing field with what people can actually, have in their hands. It takes down that contractual hierarchy to a place where everybody's facilitating their own success and can join the conversation.
That's amazing.
I love the fact that you said that technology is helping with the communication, because I never really thought of that. And you're exactly true. It's another piece, because we are always talking about communication. It's important. So what is an exciting way software solutions have helped you foster connections and collaborations on a diverse construction team?
Yeah. So as a superintendent, that communication is everything. And so having everybody be able to access the most recent information, obviously that's one of like the basic challenges that still exists. And technology is often setting out to find a solution for. But it's more than just being able to say, hey, here's the information. It's here's the information. Now can I understand your perspective on it? And so when you're trying to engage somebody and get information that can make you both successful, when I, as the superintendent of the job site, am trying to build a better schedule, I have to know that people are looking at the right information. When we use Project Site on our job site, which is, what we use at Hensel Phelps, and we have invited all of our trade partners and our foremen to access the same information. Now we have a basis for discussion around what's expected, when we expect the material, how hard it is going to build. We're going to be able to develop more of a safety in our conversation and get the engagement we actually need in like pre-construction meetings. And so that's really exciting, because otherwise those meetings fail.
They do.
Right? They don't serve the purpose of what you need, and you can actually pull in and display information that's already been coordinated. And that allows for the diversity of conversations. We already have diversity in this industry. It takes hundreds of skill sets like to build any of those buildings any day of the week, but it's being able to tap into and pull those voices into the conversation that technology really facilitates.
I love that. And diverse voices is really important. Like Angela and I talk about that on our TEDx, is why, all those perspectives matter, right? That's how revenue, its facts are revenue is higher in groups with diverse voices. And it's really important to us because we have seen the underrepresented groups not get a voice. But sadly, it's not just the underrepresented groups that aren't getting a voice. It's the 550 of the 600 trades that aren't getting a voice because they don't have the proper communication tools, right? And so I love being able to tie that together. So, sharing that little fact, do you have a fun story where technology has empowered an underrepresented group to stand out on a project that you've worked on?
Sure. So my last project, university campus, really steep slope, really challenging. I had the great opportunity to have three brand new field engineers, three females underneath me, and a female area superintendent. It was like this really amazing once in a lifetime opportunity for mentorship and training. And we had brand new survey equipment that we had purchased. Nobody had done surveying before. We worked through all of the challenges of learning that equipment, learning the programs. We had done the layout for the deep foundations. We were drilling around this buried utility tunnel, a steam tunnel on campus, found lots of other utilities we didn't know were there. All the stories that you get,
right.
Old campuses. But we had a deep foundations trade partner, and anybody who's worked with, deep foundations trades, it's super fun to get them out on site. They're super rough, but super awesome. And just how smart and coordinated, and everybody has a great role. Well, their general superintendent came out on site, and it was a particularly snowy day, and people were, pretty unhappy about changing elevations, and the rebar cage was sinking into the concrete, and we were just having a lot of troubles with how everything was going into the ground that day. Our temporary casing became permanent casing. There was torching on, anyway, lots of stuff. One of my female field engineers had done this perfectly coordinated from all of the RFIs drawing that she had on her iPad. And she walked up in the middle of these 13 guys, and she had her iPad there, and she was showing the cage lengths and the bottom of where we were supposed to have the tip of the drill, and where the layout was. And there's just I'm standing back watching all these guys looking at her with the iPad, just, this is what we have to do. And it was just everybody understanding, right? And that she was able to walk into that situation and have a visual and a representation of her work that people were willing to understand, right? And she had done it in their language. It was in tenths, not in decimals. We were trying to understand what the right, language of communication was. Anyway, that vision just really sticks out in my head. That
I wish you had a picture of
that. And brought together.
I was going to say it, and then there needs to be a picture of that.
That would be so amazing.
I'll have to check if I have one.
I love that story.
You had to be so proud that day, just watching that whole transaction take place, right?
It was amazing, and I pointed it out to her afterwards because it had been a really tough road to get to feeling confident about what you're presenting to that crew. And
did she feel confident?
She did. She walked out of that, and she was just I knew what I was talking about.
I got this.
Technology helped her do that.
Yes.
Yeah. Yep.
That's so cool.
It is.
So the next topic we're gonna talk about actually, is the tools, right? And so I have this Stetson helmet that has a chip in it, where if you're on a job site and something happens to you, they can find you. These are some pretty cool things that our industry is doing. Share with us, how have digital tools like project management or design software impacted your ability to advocate for more united construction industry?
Perfect. Okay, so I've talked about Project Site, which is a project management suite. That's fabulous for all the reasons that we talked about with administrative controls. Talked a little bit about how we communicate out on the job site, but one of my favorite, I'll classify it under design tools, but really we utilized it in the field. It's a program called SketchUp. The design team is able to, take their rendered models, and we're able to take drone footage from the job site and apply it to those models in a 3D visual environment. And in the program, I'm able to strip down pieces of that visual environment and add in all of the temporary construction measures. So site fencing, drill rigs, where we have the site fences blocking the roadways on a certain day. We were able to update with the growing models, with how we were progressing the construction, how the site was changing every week to do weekly stakeholder updates for all of the campus neighbors in 3D, very visual, and use the same graphics to be able to present in our weekly huddles. This is what's happening on our job site. And so it became this super clear, very visual 3D representation that people could look around and actually understand how it correlated to their task, to where they were. And it married together what the design team was working on, what the construction team was progressing on, and made it this amazing communication tool that allowed stakeholders outside the project fence to trust what we were doing to keep them safe on their campus, and the people inside the construction fence to talk about a better way to do their work.
Wow. That's incredible. What's next, right? Looking ahead, speaking of what's next, like, I just can't imagine. Things are going so fast. I know that there are, people are already building things that are even better than what you're talking about, which is mind blowing in the construction industry, right? 5 years ago, nobody was really interested in Zoom, let alone these kinds of tools, right? So we've come a long way in a short period of time, and I can't imagine how much further we can go, especially in our industry with 600 different trades. Looking ahead, how do you see innovative software solutions creating a more exciting and unified future for everyone in construction?
It comes down to that communication piece. How quickly can technology help us facilitate the communication of the most accurate information? How can it help us track and project where we have our weak spots, whether that's safety, or if it's being able to look at, contracting methodologies and improve them, not for like locking down information, but for facilitating information and helping owners construct more integrated project delivery methods. I'm a huge fan of design build and being able to find ways to bring in the voices of more people. But, I'll be a little selfish here as a superintendent, is the way that we are using schedules right now and being able to visually represent those and, take apart each piece of it to show interior phasing. I'm about to tear apart, an airport terminal project, but keep it active, only taking down 3 aircraft gates at a time. It's still very hard to be able to piecemeal and show people what's going on inside. And I have dozens of airlines to report to. And so if we can marry up the schedule with those visuals, and the technology is getting there. I'm already doing it on the outside of the building in amazing ways. The more we can facilitate communication, the better this industry will perform, because we will never replace the hands that put the work in place outside the job site, but we can make them more knowledgeable and feel like they're part of the system. And when they see that their contributions are being recognized, when they trust the systems and the people, then they have that pride of work that really contributes. They want to be there.
Yeah, and there's a lot less mistakes, correct? When the communication is clear, very few errors are made. It's never going to go, you're never going to go all day without an error every single day. That's not going to happen. But it's going to decrease considerably with that kind of communication across the line. Thank you so much for your time today, and to Trimble for caring so much about how we get more underrepresented groups into the construction industry and keep them there, and how we can use technology to make them feel more comfortable. So we appreciate you today. Kabri, tell everyone how they can get a hold of you if anyone wants to reach out to you. We would love for our audience to know that.
Absolutely. Feel free to look me up on LinkedIn. I'm happy to be, a resource for you if any questions about being out in the field. We always need more superintendents, and I'm happy to break down any questions that you have about being out there.
Thank you for breaking barriers every day and breaking glass ceilings. Have a really wonderful day, and we'll talk to you soon.